we're talking about the family that plays together, and of course, we mentioned earlier this book by Christine Loomis, Simplify Family Travel, a guide to family planning, family travel. And I wanted to mention it because we're about to bring on another expert. That's right, Pamela Lanier is a travel expert, well known for her advice on family travel. Besides those 9 travel guides that she has written, she's also written the complete guide to bed and breakfast inns and guest houses for the romantic traveling couple. And we'll talk about that a bit later. Thanks for being with us, Pamela.
My pleasure.
In planning vacations for older children, what are some of the things we have to be concerned with?
Well, I think that the group from 8 till about 12 is pretty much a cinch. They're going to enjoy doing anything. Right, and
Yes.
that makes an easy call. And that's the time to get up and go and do the adventurous things that you want to do with your kids.
Now, when you say adventurous things, what do you have in mind?
Well, that could be anything from a trip to the Rocky Mountains and doing a little climbing or gold panning to just lazing in the sun. You really can do what you like to do.
Because your kids still like you.
That's right, exactly.
And they love, this is the truth, they like you.
That's exactly right.
They love you
You mean
still.
there's a point when your kids don't like you?
Yeah, and let's go right there because this is easy. So let's move right on to 13, 14, and what happens?
It's true. As your kids get a little older and get into those teenage years, things change. Everybody has different tastes, wants to do different things. Your kids want to spend a lot of time with their peers.
Away from you.
That's right, and it may not be so easy to pry them out of the house. So I have some suggestions for some ways to come up with trips for older kids that they're going to really like.
Okay.
Especially if they don't really want to go with you that badly. And this has happened to me. One suggestion I have is to go someplace that they're absolutely dying to go. If they have been dreaming about going on an undersea adventure, then do that. Go someplace where there's water, and if they're 14 or older, they can get certified for scuba. Or you can snorkel, but go someplace that captures their imagination. If they're still reluctant, take a friend.
Well, this was, I was going to ask you because I just got back from Hawaii. I had to take my daughter's boyfriend in order to get her to want to go with me.
I did the same thing. I had to bring my daughter's girlfriend. I didn't know that we had that much in common. I'm telling you, right in Hawaii.
I had to take 4 teenagers instead of just my own 2.
Oh my golly. Now that's a big trip.
They're paying you more than me
but
on
you
this
recommend that we should do that? Because
I
I
think-
wondered about that, because then you don't get the family time.
I think that can work out fine, but I agree with you. If I had my druthers, it would be just my children and me. That's just for
Would you
someone
just
who's really
make them
reluctant.
tough it out with you for a week?
I think so, and I think I'd go about getting them involved right from the beginning in choosing where we're going to stay. And listen, plan for older kids. Don't put them in one tiny hotel room. Maybe think about a condo or something.
Now we rented a condo, and it was a lot of fun to be together with my daughter and even her friend. But the thing I found is once we get to the destination, planning the vacation is more than the going. It's more than the budgeting. We need some tips about how to keep the
What
kids
to
interested
do.
because once we got there, I mean, my kids like disappear. Oh, Dad, thank you so much for bringing us. See you later. Can I have a key?
Money.
Can I have the money? And see ya. I don't see them anymore. It's like, I thought this was a family vacation. I have a problem with that. How do you fix it?
Well, I think that's what advanced preparation is all about. I think you have to research where you're going, look into the things that you want to see, you want to do, and you think that they would want to see and do, and then chronicle it. Allow a morning for this, an afternoon for that, but don't try to pack too much in.
Do you think, and maybe you could answer this, Christine, do you think that when you're traveling with teenagers, you ought to just accept that this isn't going to be pleasant?
No, I don't think you should
don't
go
think we
with
should
that
accept
attitude
that?
at all, although you should be realistic because parts of it will not be pleasant. However, you know, you can minimize some of that. If your kid uses the floor as the closet and everything he or she owns lives on the floor, that's going to happen on vacation too. So,
Right.
you know, you get them, as Pamela said, a condo room and then keep the door shut so you don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
So it does not become
like-
a source of tension between you. Forget about it.
Like we do at home.
It's harder at home, though.
Shut
It's
his door.
harder at home.
I mean, if
not
you
as-
don't, you're
and
going to be
then
upset. You're
and
going to
the
go,
other thing-
why is your floor a closet? You know.
The other thing with that age group is that they really like a time when they are equal with you. So you can learn something together. You could learn to scuba together. You could learn to play tennis together. If somebody else is in charge, someone else is doing the instruction, you're on equal ground, and they think that's fabulous.
Well, you've heard about that family that plays together, stays together. We've got a perfect example of that when we return. The romantic getaway for the couple, for you too, for the nuclear family, the one that started all those kids and things. Let's talk about that. How can we get away from all of those cares and keep the romance high?
Well, I think it's really important to do that. I think putting your couple relationship first is critical in maintaining your marriage and preparing for the future when your kids aren't there anymore and you still have your relationship to nurture. So my suggestion is to take trips together whenever you can, even if it's just a very short trip or maybe an add-on to a business trip, and try to get creative with the kids. You know, maybe you can do some trade-outs with some friends that you've had their kids over, or family, or find a student that you trust from a nearby early education program or something like that.
But now this takes determination. This is worse than planning a family vacation, because you have to plan where everybody's going to go. If they're not going to stay home, you have to pack up their things and send them off. You have to pack up your own things, and then you feel guilty the whole time you're gone.
I don't believe in feeling guilty about things like that. I think it's so important.
You didn't feel guilty when you left him home?
No.
No?
No, not at all. My kids enjoy.
Do you feel guilty when you leave your kids home?
No, baby, you're in a minority here today. I mean, seriously. But I just so admire this caring, nurturing mother thing you got going on, even though you don't like them. You know? No, seriously. You've got to find time and make a way to get away with your significant other. Okay, where do you go and what do you do?
Oftentimes, we'll just take off and do a city weekend. That's one of our favorites.
What's a city weekend?
Well, a city weekend is going to a city near us that has lots of great restaurants, maybe some cultural attractions or a show we want to see, and remembering that those nice hotels, which are really built for business travelers, are almost empty on the weekends, and the rates are a lot lower. So I look for a package or something like that, and one place I look is on travelguides.com, our website. We have a lot of deals there, hundreds of deals on places to go. Another place I love are some bed and breakfasts out in the country for a quick getaway. Recharge those love batteries.
Your husband ever take you to a bed and breakfast?
No. No.
Hey.
I'll get
Come
your
on,
book.
Doc. Take care of her.
Now, when you go to plan this weekend away, do you plan it and surprise your husband, or do you plan it together?
Well, actually, the very first one, he planned it and surprised me.
Really?
He thought we just hadn't, seen each other for a while, and it was time to spend some time together. So he planned a getaway for my birthday.
Now, I know couples that alternate years. One year, it's up to one to plan it and surprise the other one, and the next year, it's up to the other one to plan it and surprise. Have you heard any other creative things like that?
Yes, I think that sometimes there's just a chance to do it sort of spontaneously, particularly if a business trip arises and if you have a chance to take your spouse along, do it.
I want to ask both of you ladies, how do you think this kind of family planning and family travel affects the relationships?
I think it can be a really strengthening part of your relationship, and I think that even when you're taking your kids along, because a lot of people can do one vacation a year. So if you do bring your kids, make certain that you spend at least one night with your significant other. You can put your kids in a children's program at a resort, for example, and not feel guilty about it. I think she's absolutely right. You don't feel guilty because you need that time and it's good for the rest of the family. So even get a day in when you're with your spouse, when you're with your family.
Well, that's going to have to be the last word on that for now. We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
This has been another of the very important Lifestyle Magazine programs. And right now I want to remind you that one of our guests, Pamela Lanier, is an author. This is Lanier Guide to Family Travel. And I'm sure it's available, Pamela, at most every bookstore.
Everywhere, and on the web at travelguides.com.
we don't miss a chance to do things like that. Christine, so good to have you here, both of you, in the focus on family travel. And I got to just confess, at this grandfather stage of my life, I am regretful that we didn't do enough of the family stuff, but I'm glad we can encourage other families to do it. So thanks again for being with us, and thank you for joining us here on Lifestyle Magazine. We'll be back next time, and we want to invite you back too. Bye now.